So I think now we'll be looking to focus more on the Facebook ad side of things. So I'm just going to open up a different account here. So I think the big difference between now Google and Facebook, as an example, as we kind of gone through it, Facebook will be more interest-based targeting. So we will kind of display ads based on their interests, demographic parameters. What are they interested in? What are their kind of audience parameters? Are they female, age ranges, and locations? Whereas Google was obviously very search driven. What are their search intents? And I think an extra layer of benefit with Facebook ads, as an example, is you don't always need a website. With Google ads, you generally would need a website because the people are searching and you're directing them through to some form of page, be it a Facebook page or a web page, ultimately trying to convert that traffic into some form of action, be it purchasing products or inquiring on your website. What's quite different with Facebook here, as an example, is you can actually generate leads. So you'll even see, here's a few examples where we generate leads directly on Facebook without the need of taking them through to a website. So this
Yeah.
could be maybe something relevant for you, Pia, where you can
Yeah.
actually generate the leads directly in Facebook, where you don't need a website. And so, sometimes there it's kind of like so the one benefit with Facebook is that they have high volumes of audience, people scrolling that don't know that they're looking for a product or service. So we could use a lot more of kind of fear of missing out, or kind of scarcity time, kind of here's a special if you take action within maybe a 50% off for the next 2 days, as an example. Whereas Google, you'd sometimes miss those opportunities. So it has different purposes depending on the niche, the audience, and your objectives. So first coming in here, you would, once you're in here, this is one of our testing campaigns and platforms that the team uses. We'd first test campaigns out here before we'd actually go and create an account for that specific client, because we've got a limit to the accounts that we can create. So we'd first come in and test here. And if it's a small client, we'd actually maybe keep them running in here. Like here's an example where it's a small B&B breakfast. We generate leads for the clients, as an example, 12 Rand a lead. Another one, Easy Fix or kind of Coastal Glass. So depending on the audience, the niche, there would be different costs per lead. Or if we're doing e-commerce marketing or directing the user to WhatsApp, and that's where you might not need a website, or your website isn't optimized to convert a lead, you can actually generate that lead directly in Facebook, and you can use that to follow up with the client, and at least you're converting and generating some form of lead or directing them directly to your WhatsApp page. So I'll maybe look at setting up a lead ad first and then going into the conversions or sales campaigns. So I'll run through them quickly. So again, when setting up a campaign, you also have the different objective. What objective do you want from this campaign? Do you want to generate awareness, traffic, engagement, leads, apps, promotional sales? So it's very similar to what Google had, so that Google can know that based on your objective, what do you want out of this campaign? What are your main goals? So for this starting off instance, let's start off with leads.
So, Justin, can I
Yes,
ask one quick stupid
yes.
question? In like a sentence, can you just go through exactly what awareness, traffic, engagement? I mean, it is pretty, but what is traffic? I mean,
So
what are those?
traffic would be, so again, Google kind of knows that how people engage with Facebook, or it's within its meta platforms, those people that engage with content but don't click through to a website. And it would also know that people that go to websites but don't convert, so they don't complete website forms. Or so say, for example, further to that, I'm in this campaign, as an example, I would want to generate leads. I would like to collect the person's contact details, name, email, contact number, and maybe location. But some people maybe only engage with content, so they watch videos or they like posts, but they don't complete forms. So
that's engagement.
so that would be engagement. People click on ads, they go through to websites, Instagram profiles, but they might not convert into leads. Or so that's why that objective is quite important, because yeah, awareness, that would just be displaying your ad, you're generating reach. People will see your ad, but maybe not take action on the ad. It's maybe that you've got a new brand and you want people to become aware of it, but it also doesn't mean, so sometimes setting up a campaign for awareness would give you more reach than setting up a campaign for leads would give you less reach for the same budget, but hopefully Facebook would optimize their campaign, display the campaign to people that are more inclined to send messenger or complete website forms, knowing that these are people that take action on websites or complete website forms. So Facebook knows, I mean, it collects data from everything, what pages you like, and they put them into categories. So those categories then become interest kind of driven interest points. It knows your age. It knows what cell phone you use, what browser you use on your computer, what location you're in, what times of day you engage with the platform.
Wow.
It knows probably more than we would like to think it knows about us. So it probably knows a lot more about us and how we engage with its platforms, so that it can use that mainly for its advertising preferences. So maybe to provide some further context,
Sorry,
last year,
it
yes?
gives you all the information on the side. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so there is some information. So again, depending, so I mean, if you're only looking for awareness, it would give you more reach, but those people aren't inclined to buy products. So it would display to everyone, so give you more reach. So it'll give you a lower reach cost than a campaign that's optimized for leads. The reach cost will be higher, but you have more opportunity. It would display your ads to people that are more inclined to convert, or those that are more inclined to engage with posts. So I've got some hotel companies that, for their brand, from a social media perspective, yes, they want leads and things, but we actually have an engagement campaign type, because they want on their social media to show as if people are engaging in their content. So from a perception point of view. But I mean, if you don't have high budgets, the number one company objective should be, how do we feed the company first? And then there's peripherals. I mean, if you can't generate enough business from your advertising, then you're ultimately wasting advertising budget, and ultimately that could affect your margins and then the profitability of your company, and then potentially close the company down because now you aren't converting or maximizing your opportunities into positive ROI generating activities. So focusing on feeding the company first, especially for a small business, would either be focusing on leads if you sell a service or product that maybe can't be done online, or physically using the sales campaign, because again, Facebook would know those that go onto websites, that add to cart, and that perform checkout, as opposed to those that don't even click on an ad to go to the website. So why would you want to display an ad to someone that doesn't buy products?
Sure.
So that's why trying to match the objective firstly with what are your goals, so that you can kind of match that, so that Facebook can match that based on how its users engage with Facebook, so that you can so that those ads could display to those users and how they engage with it. So like me personally, I don't like posts. I don't engage with posts. I don't comment on posts. But everyone's different. I would rather click on a post that's relevant to me, go to the website and either complete a website form if I'm interested in it, mainly because I want to see the follow-up process. from a marketing perspective, or to physically see what remarketing's happened. So maybe if I see a sales ad, I want to see how they're going to remarket to me so that I can kind of learn other strategies or what companies are doing, or just to kind of see what their process is and how they would manage that traffic.
Right.
So personally, the only campaign types I would advise on would be leads or sales. So starting with leads, we would set that campaign. Again, yeah, Facebook is trying to adjust a tailored lead campaign. So very generic. There's less steps to set up. It will provide some presets according to their best practices. Again, me personally, I feel this benefits Facebook and not you. So, and we'll go over some of the reasons why once we dive into the data a little bit more. So personally, I would advise on the manual lead campaign setup because it gives you more features to set up, but also kind of not setting it up too generic. So for new people, sometimes, yes, this is the best way to get your ad up as quickly as possible, but it's using their default presets, which it uses more budget and less kind of additional options to make sure your ads are targeted as best as possible, and which I'll run through in the setup process. So at the top here, we've got something very similar to what we had with Google. This will be your campaign level. Yeah, we've got a campaign. Let's just call it leads. Maybe I'm just going to kind of events. You can call it anything you want. Maybe also July 24, or even if we wanted to be very specific, maybe Cape Town, if we wanted to have location-specific campaigns. Advanced campaign budget, we don't need that. We could do A/B testing. For now, I don't think it's too relevant. Proceed. Next, it's going to ask us, what do we want to do? Do we want to take the traffic through to a website, Messenger, instant forms and Messenger, Instagram, calls, or apps? So the nice thing, so if we selected Messenger, we could send that directly through to Messenger on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, or we could use an instant form. So I like the instant form. Is that where you can kind of generate the lead directly in Facebook and follow up with them at a later stage. I'm maybe just going to select our company.
Quick
Yes,
question. Messenger, is that direct messages? I know we've got Messenger. I've got a whole thing where people
yes,
do interact directly, but it's pretty much direct messages.
yes. That'll be direct messenger into your Instagram, Facebook, Messenger account. But
Okay.
sometimes the problem there is that you don't always, they would just pose a random question. With the instant forms, personally, is that we try and collect their contact details up front. If we have the contact details, we can follow up with them personally. We can start to make follow-up automated emails. We can got their contact number, so we can, call them the next day, or send them WhatsApps, or send them SMSs. With Messenger, sometimes they start the conversation, but you've only got a message from them. Hi, I'm looking for more information about your product, but they don't provide their email or cell phone number. And if you follow up with them, sometimes they might not reply back again. So it's especially with leads, you need to collect the contact details, but then also follow up while they kind of in the moment. So with data that we've collected over the years, if you generate a lead, following up within the first 5 minutes would give you a 70+% chance of converting that lead, because essentially they would be a lot warmer. Every hour that falls by, you've got a 10% less chance of converting that user, and even the next day it drops by more than 50%, because sometimes they've been so busy scrolling. What did I inquire about? Sorry, where are you calling from? They don't remember the brand. I mean, people are so in tune with their own things that they forget what they've inquired about and move on with their life. So the sooner you can follow up, the better, or providing some form of, like, especially with e-commerce, trying to generate that sale or upsell on the page would probably be better. But sometimes you need that kind of lead generation process, especially if you're selling a high ticket item, maybe consultancy services or things like that. So yeah, there's not too many other settings to put up in our ad level. What do we want? So we had our objective. What's the location we would like to try and collect it in terms of the location within Meta? We're going to do instant forms, select your company page, selected this page, a cost per goal result. That's optional. I wouldn't do that in the beginning. Let Facebook kind of set that up. Put your preferred daily budget. What are you prepared to spend on it on a every single day on this campaign? Be it, I think the minimum is 20 Rand. There's no maximum. You can set an end date if you want it to end automatically. We've also got location options. So say, for example, now I wanted to target the whole country, or again, I can target either direct, something similar with Facebook, Google. We can also drop a pin drop and target a circumference, or I can also target the whole of Cape Town or a specific suburb. So it provides you with similar functionality there in terms of location specific information. So the ads would only display to people, reach people living in or recently in this location. Sometimes you should be able to change that. Facebook has not given me an option to change that. That's strange. That is strange. And then you've also got a kind of age range. So say, for example, now you are wanting to target, maybe you know that minimum age. So people not older than, sorry, Facebook's done something different here. See advanced audience controls. So again, kind of now Facebook's gone and just automatically added a advanced audience controls, and it isn't allowing me to adjust and refine my audience. So the audience is very important.
They do this
Because
all the time.
Sorry?
Change. They update and change things constantly.
Yes. That must be quite new. It looks like a new feature. And all of this actually looks quite new from even how I've refreshed this morning. Audiences. So you'll see I switched to original audiences. So try to give me the advanced audience option, which is very limiting because now it only allowed me to set up a minimum age. Say, for example, now your target audience is within the e-commerce space or even business decision people, anything above 28 years old and maybe up to 58 years old. You don't want to be displaying your ads to people 65 plus. They're not in the business space. They might not be purchasing products online. And even sometimes maybe on high ticket items, the buying power might not be there until they have really they're properly in the job market. So between 28 and sometimes even personally 55 is more my personal range. And then maybe like with the female clothing, previously it didn't allow you to select women. Whereas now we might want to only target our ads to females within this specific age range within this specific location. So you kind of saw there where Facebook was by defaulting me to a general group, preventing you from optimizing your campaign, displaying your ads to people who are more inclined to convert. And I say, now that's more to Facebook's benefit. You'd be now paying ads, displaying it possibly at males aged 19 that don't have the buying power, are not interested in dresses in a location that might not be something where they can physically buy it. And that's already kind of preventing that audience setup. So understanding your audience, especially on Facebook and Meta, is very important as opposed to Google, where it's kind of more search intent, where anyone searching for something has that higher intent of purchasing. Whereas, yeah, you knowing your audience and how they look for your product and service is very important, because now you only want to display your ads to those individuals, knowing that you can see or generate a better ROI based on only those people are seeing your ads, as opposed to your ads being wasted across audiences that are not interested in your product or services. Any questions? Seems good.
Sorry,
And
Justin.
yes.
Sorry, Justin. I just wanted to know. So when I do an ad campaign, then I put a number in, and then every day Facebook gives me like a result of what the day's advertising has been. Does that mean that's clicks or people who've engaged in it? So they give me like, okay, you spent 850 Rand, and today on the 5th of July, 127 Rand was spent. I just was like, are we getting into that?
We'll get into that. So
Okay, sorry, I jumped the boat.
no problem. So that's why I think, so yes, we'll get into that. That's why it's also very important to not be, we'll get into the metrics a bit shortly. I think kind of let's focus on the audience targeting, because that will be ensure that your ads, and then once we review the stats, ensuring that your ads display to the right people is probably the most important, especially with Facebook ads. So
brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, we'll also then get into the detailed targeting. So now at the moment, my ad is, I've set my ad up to display only people within Western Cape, within this age range, and display to women. But that's going to still be very broad. It could be, and let's maybe use the dresses kind of an niche, is that any woman, your ad would now display to any woman within this price range. It doesn't mean that they're looking for any products or they're interested in beauty products or anything. So further to that, I would maybe now use the detailed targeting options and maybe physically do like online shop. Because here you've actually got something. So there's a job title. We don't want people job title, online shopping. They are interested in online shopping. With that, now you kind of see you can either add exclusions or narrow audience. So narrow audience would include me a second option. You'll see here, I'm trying to find people that match my previous set of requirements, location, age, gender, that is interested in online shopping and must also match, let's say, for example, payment. It's going to be very broad. So you'll see at the moment, my target audience is between 500 to 700,000 payment. But yeah, you'll see there's also Facebook payment users behavior. Anyone that's done a payment on a website within my targeting parameters. So my audience is very small here. In the States and things, it'll be a lot higher. But this narrows your audience down so that your ad would display more specifically to people that are more inclined to be online shoppers and have made a payment. So that's maybe too specific. So we'd kind of maybe remove that and have also maybe online. There's also another behavior. So the behavior is quite important, but they don't give us too much. Retail page admins. For yourself, Pierre, that could be quite relevant. So say, for example, you creating ads and you want to display your ads to people within online retail or retail and that are retail page admins. So you also now know that they are page admins on Facebook, or they maybe have an online store between these age ranges or within the whole of Western Cape. Now you get very specific in your targeting, because then your ad would display only to retail page admins within that have an online shop or online shop retail, and it gets more specific as opposed to just those that are interested in online retail. Does that make a bit more sense into how you can
Which
be
is
more
actually good
specific?
because, sorry, for example, Pierre, I am the page admin and I've got an online retail shop, and so I would want to be a vendor. So I would be
Yes.
the person that you're addressing it to, because I'm the decision maker, because I do the admin of the Facebook page.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's people with little
So yeah,
online.
definitely. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can
flip.
go through, there's quite a lot of playing around with these to be quite, will help you adjust. And the nice thing here is to say, for example, you've also got something that's maybe for, just trying to think very specifically, maybe this one is dresses related. So yeah, we've got online retail and dresses apparel. So you'll see the audience gets a little more specific there. Then we could actually now create this one, duplicate. It'll duplicate the ad set, and then we could set this one up to be a bit different, to maybe be something totally different, to maybe cosmetic. If you had a cosmetic brand or something, Mac Cosmetics as an example. So now then we can have an ad that's separate to this audience and display different ads based on the different audiences that you have. So you can really play, and that's where the interest-based information is different to the search intent, is quite different. I mean, you can go quite into and even browse, so you get demographics, interests, or behaviors. So you can actually look at behaviors. What do people do? Are people in anniversaries? So maybe if there was a wedding planner or something, you could actually go into some for people that are looking at maybe wedding, or if they're looking for baby products as an example. So all depending on, yeah, if they're looking at baby showers. So depending on your product, service, what are you looking to promote, your message? Because yeah, you also need that relevance. What is my message that I will be promoting? And that will come with your ad. But that's why setting up your audience, your relevance, and why it's quite important is, what is your message? How does that connect to your audience? And what problem is your product, service trying to provide to that audience, and ultimately trying to convey that message in your ad based on that audience, so that you could deliver to them and have sure that that relevance is there, so they could take that action and hopefully inquire on your advert. Does everything making sense at the moment? Any questions? So I'll maybe keep it quite basic there. I'm actually going to maybe change this one to just page admins in retail. So you got the whole, either all Facebook page admins, business, travel, health and beauty, retail, food and restaurants. So depending on the kind of different audiences, we could maybe also include even events. Live events is probably not. Shop. The
For markets.
employers. Yes.
Because for Pierre's one, it would be people who enjoy markets or
So yeah, you
pop-ups.
could play around with these kind of different settings. It'll give you their flea markets, either employees. So it's quite, it kind of knows. I mean, there might not be a big audience for that, so you'd maybe just need to adjust some of the settings here, or maybe not have it do online shop. So if I had to remove this, the audience would be quite a bit bigger, because I'm trying to get retail, flea markets. So that might be kind of more relevant there. So sometimes the more specific, the lower volume of ads that you could display, but maybe the better quality. Just doing a little bit of trial and error to kind of see what is the quality, what is the volume of leads. If you need more leads, maybe making it broader, and you'll see Facebook will also give you some kind of indicator of if it's too broad, if it's too specific. Somewhere within the green it seems to kind of work quite well. Next, you've also got an option to have, so everything but with Facebook is defaulting the placement. Yeah, you've also got an option to use Facebook's manual placement option. So where do I want my ads to display on Facebook, Instagram, audience networks? Do I do a lot of reels, or do I do reels only? If you only do reels, you maybe want to turn off some like explore or other things. Sometimes for like in-stream video is fine. Search, people don't really use it much. Sometimes in Messenger, unless you're selling a product, I wouldn't include it in there. As a trial or creating your first ad, using the advanced placement is fine. We would maybe turn on Instagram, maybe turn off Instagram or Facebook following once we've collected data, because depending on the ad, depending on the message, depending on the audience, Facebook's and Instagram's audiences use Facebook and Instagram totally differently. I mean, Instagram is more image video orientated. You see less copy, whereas Facebook, you'd see more, the message is sometimes quite important. People sometimes first read the first sentence or two, then the image. So that's also quite a bit different, but I think collecting the data initially and then making an informed decision would probably be more beneficial. So using the advanced placement option, and then we can proceed to the next setup, which will be
So
the setting up the ad.
just a quick question with
Yes.
regards to the Facebook and Instagram. I know some of us are quite lazy in that we just let it go to both. But as you've just said now, if I know that most of our clients come from Facebook and not Instagram at the moment. So you would actually do different ads, hey? You would kind of do slightly different ads for Facebook and for Instagram. And if you put them on both, would that be splitting your money?
It would be splitting your money. So depending again on the objective campaign, and again, the people use it differently. A lead campaign wouldn't perform as well on Instagram, depending on the niche and audience and how that niche and audience uses it. So that's why testing it out first. If you already have the data, so I was going to look into that kind of next and showcase, based on the data, you can select manual placement that I only want my ads to display on Facebook as an example. And then you can actually then duplicate this campaign once it's been set up, and set up, I only want this campaign to display on Instagram, because there might be a totally different image and a totally different message.
What is audience network?
Audience network would kind of be different things that Facebook controls and has different ad platforms on. Personally, I would disable that. It doesn't provide much value. You would get some impressions and some reach, but we hardly see much movement on that. If there's some Facebook or Meta game or some, it's part of Facebook's or Meta's platforms.
Okay.
So proceeding to the ad setup. So yeah, we're kind of now looking at set up the ad. You'd maybe give it a unique name. So maybe if this was like dresses, Cape Town. So a naming convention would definitely help. Setting up the ad. So what pages are connected to, that's fine. Am I doing a single image or video, or do I want a carousel? If you want a carousel, you can select that, and you'd have different kind of cards that you could then select. I'm just going to maybe do one image for now. You can also select an existing post. So if you have a post on a page, so that's where I would never boost a post from a page, because Facebook's going to use their generic targeting options and just boost it for reach and not for results. Partnership is off. Okay, conversion location. So sometimes you can select ad. I think because I'm doing a lead form, I would need to have, I can't select the post. Selecting image, and essentially here I can now select to upload my video or image. I'm just going to kind of use any image that's been uploaded here. It's part of a maths tutoring client. I'll just select that for now. So you can upload any images you want. I'll put that in. Facebook's doing its own optimization things. You could use that. Don't like what it's done there. And then we give it a bit of primary text. So what is our kind of primary text? It'll also include some different variations. So you could just maybe this one is, can't recall. We were initially looking for so yeah, I'm just using this image. It's maybe not totally relevant. Imagine it was maybe some kind of market related. So we could do something like that. Grow your store revenue. I'm not too sure. So I mean, you could play it. So using ChatGPT would probably also be quite speedy. It's also got its own AI generator, and you can kind of use some additional information, ensuring that your kind of content in the ad is also quite sometimes again relevant to your product, service. Their problem might also be beneficial. So that's the kind of content you can use, any variations as you choose. Yeah, you'll see a call to action. So maybe a get quote or download or apply now or get offer or learn more. Maybe just learn more in this instance. And then we're also going to look at creating a form. So yeah, again, we want to generate the lead within Facebook. I'm going to say create a new form. We can give the form a name, maybe just event leads. More volume. So yeah, you've got the option for either more volume. Do you want more volume on the leads or higher intent? Sometimes testing a bit of mixture of both, maybe more volume initially. Introduction, giving a form, some form of introduction. So grow your retail store. It's going to put blah, blah. You can put all the information in here. Questions. Okay, what questions do you want to ask? Or you can collect variety of information. I want to collect email, name, phone number, maybe city, province. You can collect as much information as you want. You can collect even custom questions, multiple choice questions, short answers. What retail store do you own? So it might also help you understand a bit more about the business. So they'll actually need to kind of complete this form, but I'll show you how that looks. A quick privacy policy information, add link. Sometimes, again, if you don't have a website, you can just I include a link to your Facebook page or directly through to your privacy policy page. So just copying that, adding in there, text. Privacy, message for leads, you're all set. That's fine. Linking through to the website. You can include a link through to the website. So after they actually complete the form, they will then either get this option to go through and view the website. Now the form has been created. It's asking me for something. Oh, one of our so they know, kind of, this is like a bit of a disclaimer so that the person knows that one of our consultants will be contacting you. If it was real estate, one of our real estate agents will be contacting you. If it was our sales agents, one of our sales agents will be contacting you, just so the person knows what are you going to do with my details once I submit it. Now the form is being created, it'll be linked to that ad. So ultimately, once the person sees this ad, which I'll show an example of, maybe also send a notification to Facebook. I'm just going to see if that's going to work. I'm going to just go to my Facebook. It's not displaying that ad to me. I just want to physically show you how the lead form would actually work. Not giving me any of the options at the moment. Essentially, this is what the ad would display like on mobile, some of the other platforms. If you had to click this, I don't know if you've ever seen a little pop-up where essentially then it'll ask you to complete the information that I was looking to collect, and then that information will be sent through to you as the company, and then the person would have never needed to leave Facebook, and you've generated that lead. You could do the same thing with WhatsApp, is that if they had to click the learn more or WhatsApp button, it'll be sent to their WhatsApp, and they could essentially send you a message on WhatsApp. Or if this was a sales campaign, it would say learn more or shop online and take you directly through to the website for the website to do the sale.
And sorry, Justin, where would that come through to? Would you put in an email address, or would it come through to the messenger side of things, or?
It would come through to the messenger side of things within your lead manage, within your message center lead manager.
Okay. So your business.
Yes, your business. I'm just opening example now. So it would come through to something like this. So within your business manager, you've got your inbox, so where all your direct messages go through, and then your lead center, everything would come through into here, and then you could either kind of manage all the leads accordingly. There will be some information about it, what information what was selected. You could then also kind of assign it to other team members, add any notes if there was any information, delete the lead if needed, schedule a reminder. So it is a bit of an area for you to manage your leads if you wanted to within the lead section within the Meta within Facebook.
Yep. And the pretty much the way to do all of this is on your laptop, not on your phone.
Yes, I don't think the lead center is accessible on your cell phone. I've never tried. I know they do have a basic ads manager. It doesn't give you nearly the amount of options. So maybe if it's only for kind of oversight of if the campaigns are performing or not. But further to that, managing them, I wouldn't advise on managing your ads on the ads manager app, and only using the Meta ads manager on your desktop.
That's Meta Ads Manager. Meta.
Yes, or just going into the ads manager within Meta, and then maybe just quickly, so say for example now, if we wanted to look at a different objective and maybe change it to, essentially it would be the same process here. I just wanted to select maybe sales. So instead of, if it was leads, what's different with the leads and sales? It's not too much different, it's just the objective. We will now set it up for website. And yeah, where's quite important to where we didn't get the previous one, we've got the pixel. So what pixel do you want to look at using? It's going to maybe select this one. And then what conversion event do you want to track? And maybe for your instance, if it's an online shop, you want anything to be kind of purchases. So there, what Facebook will do is automatically match and try and optimize this campaign for sales based on this conversion event. It will know users on Facebook who go to websites and purchase products as opposed to people that don't purchase products.
Yeah.
And maybe a extra audience segment in here could be that we could adjust the audience in terms of custom audiences here to include a custom audience. So say, for example, now your website as an example, you want to target people that have been to your website and that all website visitors. So you can target all website visitors, or maybe only those that add to cart, and exclude people that, why is there no purchase? That's strange. Because you'd actually want to exclude people that have purchased because they're already a purchaser.
They're
But
already,
here
and they're already in,
the idea there would be kind of, so I'm not too sure if it's maybe I just haven't collected enough data for that specific event. But sometimes maybe playing around with that or just displaying to the whole website, all website visitors, that might be a better utilization of your advertising budget because people are already familiar with your brand, already familiar with your products. And
Yeah.
or what you could do is, I'm going to go one back, is create a new audience. You see this lookalike. So
Okay.
if you have website traffic, you can tell Facebook that I want to have a new source, custom audience based on my website traffic. Any website visitors, audience name, let's say web visitors, because you can target your website visitors, but now I want to create a lookalike audience similar to my website visitors. So maybe, so
Yes.
yeah, you kind of also get a little bit specific. We can go Western Cape, so especially more for shop, search location. Why is that not? Oh, it's only giving me countries.
But maybe we want to grow the business like in Australia or the UK. If it's a shop, like if you want to go
Yes.
international, you could probably
Or you want to
do-
just have a pop-up in London.
yeah, absolutely.
That's just the thing is you can refine it still based on this. So this is only a lookalike audience within, I mean, they may be a bit more limited, but you'll kind of see, so how specific with your lookalike audience do you want to be? So do you want to be kind of 1% based on your website visitors, or you'll see that the size, this 1% to 10%, the size of the audience increases. So being quite more specific with it wouldn't be as broad and more specific to create that audience, and then we can still match it. So there we're creating the audience that a lookalike based on my website visitors, but still needs to match these custom parameters that we set up. It still needs to be within the ages of 30 and 60 as an example with these interests, and it'll exclude anyone outside of that within the website visitors. So
Yes.
it doesn't have an audience size because it'll still need to build this lookalike, but essentially that helps you a little bit to guide Facebook in terms of especially if you know your audience and interest-based audience.
Sure. There's a whole different world going on here behind the scenes.
I know. So you
And
can't
kind of, so the
just
next thing, so for example, now that your ad campaigns are running and collecting data, what would be next is quite important. So say, for example, now that's where you had your pixel on the website. So now actually with the, if you're taking traffic through to your website, understanding, so within Meta, you've got what's called the event manager, and your pixel is set up there. What now you can actually physically do is go and see how's all this information working with my website. So these are quite small. Let's see how I can enlarge. So you see what's quite, it's also kind of an online store. You'll see page views, how the kind of filters down to go from, you've got X amount of page views from, this is collectively across not just your ads, but everything that was generated on your website. So this is a complete nice overview of the data you've collected from your website. So how many page views did you generate? How many viewed product pages? How many viewed category pages? How many added to cart? How many initiated checkout? And then how many proceeded to purchase? So it'll give you some kind of insights into how your website is performing based on the volume of traffic that you generated. And then you can kind of go into the more specific information on how your campaigns are performing. So I just want to maybe select a different ad here. So I'll select maybe this campaign. So I actually want to look at some of the analytics. So here we're reviewing the performance overview. So that's where maybe I think Pia, if you asked about
Yeah,
the
I'm right
stats.
in that now as well. Actually, yeah, I'm busy looking at that. Yeah, so I've
So
got to, yeah,
maybe
so
so
I've got to, yeah.
depending, I
So,
think, yeah, so I'll kind of do a quick overview and then you can maybe answer, because I
okay,
might answer that, is
yes.
depending on your objective. What was your objective? Did you want to generate traffic or awareness or leads or sales? So depending
Yeah.
on your objective, based on your objective, focus on that objectives kind of metric, because there might be two other many small peripherals that you would like to know, or that Facebook will be giving you, like click-through rate, cost per click, impressions, reach. A lot of that might not be relevant if you're looking at the volume of leads. So maybe just starting off with this campaign, we wanted leads. We wanted to generate leads, and
Mm-hmm.
number one, volume of leads, and then trying to ascertain, does the lead fit within my margin budget? So depending on what do I generate? So they sell accommodation for tented and kind of non-tented accommodation. So they generate the lead and have found it better if they follow up with the lead. They average on 12 Rand a lead, and they've found that it varies between 1 in 5 and to even 1 in 10 will convert into a paying customer. So their tents, I think, are 1 in 5, and then their more luxury accommodation in their suits are 1 in 10. But that 12 really works within their budget. I think they make between then 1,000 to 500 Rand per night on the different accommodations. So it works within their margin. So the rest of the analytics, we don't need to get too bogged down into. As long as we can keep the cost lower than 500 Rand or lower than 50 Rand in the beginning, they are happy with that, and then we can focus on generating volume. The cost per click become irrelevant, and some of the other metrics become largely irrelevant because we focused on the main objective result.
Yeah.
So if I had to try and customize this to be, so it doesn't even give me the option to change that. I can maybe change it in here, like the reach. So depending on the reach per men and women, it's not as relevant maybe in the age ranges if I wanted to
Yes.
understand maybe where am I getting my results from. So now if I know that majority of my results are coming from women, as an example,
And
so
you're
women
focused
are a
on
little
women.
bit cheaper than men. It's still kind of, that's where you get that average. It's not too big of an average. I mean, if there was 100 Rand price discrepancy there, it might be more worthwhile to exclude males from the advertising targeting. But
Yeah.
there's a Rand in it here and there. So there's not enough in it for us to kind of decide. And sometimes, I mean, then we'll see in the age ranges of 18 to 24, there's not a lot of volume, but you'll see the cost per result is lower than the average. So to keep that running is also fine. So
Sure.
having a
Yeah.
look at the stats and trying to make some form of informed decision based on, so yes, there is a bit more in the older demographic is slightly more expensive, especially in the males, but we aren't probably spending too much on the age demographic on males. So, and it's also different here because the client wants the older demographic to fill their weekly accommodation. So
Yes.
because they're on the weekends, they might get more of the younger people because they're working, whereas during the weeks they fill up more. So they want that exposure. So sometimes trying to kind of dissect the analytics a little bit without being too bogged down into the minor details. The cost per the impression cost, the cost per clicks, especially on Facebook, is not always relevant. Have a look firstly at your result. Are you happy with the cost per result and the volume of results that you're generating? Then go a little bit more into the detail. Where am I spending? and what am I generating? So, I mean, I didn't even really look at the reach because it's not too relevant at this moment.
Yeah.
Impressions also not too relevant because I'm
Well,
generating the
the
results. It
sales.
is
Yeah.
sometimes worthwhile to know, okay, most of my reach is going to 20% is going to females in this age range, but that is where we want the ads to display. So
Yes.
that's right. Then what we could maybe, because that's just demographic, now we can look at the platform. What
Yes.
platforms are my results coming from? So reach or impressions. So that's kind of very, so most of it's coming from Facebook. And then where's my spend going? Similar, but there was a bit of a jump there on the amount spent, but I don't think that's also too much to look into, unless, I mean, not too much there. So definitely that most of our results come from Facebook. Yeah, probably looking, it's not giving me a percentage based on because it's based on amount spend, but you can kind of at least see some form of indication what's a better platform to focus on. And I mean, we could even, but excluding it might not be 100% worthwhile. If there was like amount spend, if it was 50-50, yeah, and then 80-20 in terms of results, then turning the one off. But if they look kind of evenly split, so trying to make a informed decision based on your kind of understanding should allow you to kind of make adjustments on your ads, and then you can go back to your advertising campaigns to be able to set them up and now edit the advertising campaign. Sorry, here's edit. So yeah, you'll see the kind of chart view. Now we can edit the campaign if we wanted to, based on the data. Say, for example, we don't want our ads to display to anyone 60 plus, and
Yeah.
we want to exclude Instagram. We can then go and exclude Instagram based on the data we've extracted. But sometimes
Yes.
first collecting that data and then making those decisions would hopefully give you better
Better idea.
performance, yes, as opposed to making you feel based off assumptions, and you might miss out on the whole performance. Or again, people use the social media platforms differently, and the lead campaigns will definitely work well in Facebook, and because I know they don't work as well in Instagram, but Instagram works better for e-commerce and sales generation because it's more image heavy and people are more inclined to purchase products from there because of the Instagram shops, and similar to TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so interesting just looking at the back here now for me. I've just learned so much. This is all stuff that I haven't seen before. So like where it goes up, where I start spending money, it's amazing. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I've just had a look at ours, and it just shows the number of people that that watch a video for 3 seconds, and then those that watch it for a minute. It just then like, don't waste your time on long involved. Everything must be quick.
Quick. Yeah. So funnily enough, on my custom advertising summary, which I've got in front of me, it doesn't click leads, it clicks clicks. That's recommended by Facebook.
So again, also you need to show, yes, and that's where Facebook will optimize that campaign to try and deliver your ad to people that are more inclined to click on an ad that takes you through to a website, but those people might not. So it could involve everyone, that those that do convert and that those that don't. So you might be missing out, especially if you were looking to generate leads, you might be missing out on people that are more inclined to convert. So
yes,
by trying to match that objective based on your objective, because Facebook will know who those people are and try and match your ad up, because it wants you to spend. And if it can generate better results for you, you'll be spending more over time. But and that's where knowing what you want and setting it up, it's kind of, these are all kind of things where you need to help feed Facebook, because if you just take its
Yes.
generic recommendations, personally, I think it's Facebook's going to benefit, and you won't have that longevity in terms of advertising over a long period of time, because you'd probably be missing out of setting up the detailed advertising options by either excluding certain demographics, excluding certain age ranges, excluding certain locations, and then
Yes.
excluding certain placements, which then would be wasted budget and ultimately affecting the cost per acquisition that you do generate at a later stage. Because now, instead of generating a 5% conversion rate, you might only be doing a 1% because of all those, your ads displaying to the wrong people.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, I get it.
Justin, do we have time to have a quick overview of WhatsApp? I don't think so. Hey.
Sure. So there it's kind of also very similar. So the WhatsApp, it'll just be a different objective. So if we had to go into the objective setup here, or maybe just find that other campaign that I was working on. So instead of selecting, so where we selected website here, it'll be drive to messaging apps. So there
Okay.
you'll see drive sales and conversations through Messenger, Instagram, WhatsApp. So then you'll select it and select WhatsApp. And when we go through to the ad itself, so instead of doing a lead form or whatever, now we want to try and select that objective to send message. So I want to see, I don't know if WhatsApp's connected to this account.
Oh, it has to be connected.
Yeah, you would need to connect WhatsApp to that physical business account.
Because there are quite a lot of people now that are getting a bit irritated with all the advertising on Facebook. So if they then you build your databases with your broadcast lists, and then you can also just target them where they can buy from your WhatsApp shops or catalog or look through it.
Yes. So for me, so sometimes, well, what I found personally, so WhatsApp can be a great to initiate the conversation, but again,
Yeah.
they might not reply and they might not give you all their contact details. So the difference between the lead form personally is that you've collected their contact details up front, and now you've got the power. Essentially, you've built up your email list, you've built up, and you've got the power to contact them. With WhatsApp, they initiate the control. They can start and send you any message that they want to. And just trying to find another kind of client that I think we have done this for. But they don't need to supply you with all their contact details.
Yeah.
So that if they don't supply you with their contact details, then you might not be able to follow up with them. So sometimes testing them out, and depending on the product or niche, I don't have any connected here. I think Fairview would be connected. And that would allow me to, so then essentially you'd be able to now start a conversation and send a WhatsApp message. So it'll actually give you that option, and then on the ad, it'll kind of display a little bit of a button. I'll see if I can connect a post. No, it's not giving me.
So I do a lot of work from Facebook and Instagram to WhatsApp, and it really does help. If I'm advertising to my database, I just do it through WhatsApp, and it works like a bomb.
But and again, I think depending on your niche, the follow-up process, every niche, every individual. So I mean, especially if you're the go-to salesperson, so there you kind of see it, chat with us on WhatsApp. They click that, it would open their WhatsApp, and then they can start chatting. So let's say, for example, now it's maybe for a bigger company. Let's say it's a company that might have a business manager account, but it's not being managed 24/7. The person starts a WhatsApp conversation and then only gets a reply the day later. And then the person doesn't reply. So trying to kind of put yourselves into those different scenarios. The person's looking for information and they might not get that information now. And then
Yeah.
that lead gets cold and then you don't follow up with them in a day or two. So depending on the niche, the audience, what your follow-up process will be, could impact the objective that you set up. And that's why sometimes, I mean, what we do is with a lead campaign, as an example, we would set it up, connect it to an automation tool, generate the lead details so that the company has got all the lead details, is added to their email list, and they can follow up. But it also connects it maybe to like a Gmail account or their messaging, the email system, and we put a delay on that, and it actually automates a follow-up email, the one that they would have sent the next morning anyway, after an hour. And what they found is that if anyone replies to that email, those are more serious leads, and they would prioritize the follow-up of those leads first. And then the more senior salespeople would contact them, and the more juniors would just go through the other leads, those leads that didn't follow up or didn't reply, and do those kind of, I wouldn't say like cold calling because they've already generated that lead, but they would be following up with them a lot more actively because sometimes they need to make 4 or 5 calls to get hold of the client, convert them into a consultation. The consultation turns into a potential sale, and then especially if it's with like service-based products. Whereas if it's physical-based products, normally if you have a website that can convert, taking them directly through to the website.
Yeah. Amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin. This has been
No problem.
So
Any other questions? Anything
Sorry,
else
I've
you'd
just
like
got a
to-
question.
Yes.
Justin, in terms of segmenting, so my challenge when I've dabbled in this previously is I never know, because let me backpedal a bit. When you set up an ad, so you picked your demographics and your audience and your platforms and your graphics and your headlines and everything, and then you let the campaign run so it gathers a bit of momentum and gathers data, you have no idea which aspect is or isn't working. So in an ad set, like, do you have a number of segmentations that you think is a great way to do a test of all these different variables, that if you just do 1 or 2, you'll never really know which thing is working and if you've targeted your audience properly, etc., etc.?
Yes, so I'll go back to that. So essentially, yes, once you set up your audience, you can maybe, so it depends on maybe the beginning, I would advise maybe being more generic and broad to collect the data. And then after some time, analyzing the data like we discussed, and then trying to create more segments. The nice thing is that kind of you saw that we can create different audiences. I was just looking where that was. So we've got the different audiences that we can create, the advanced audiences, so that you can create these audiences here, and then also physically save this audience. So say, for example, we can save this audience to maybe be, this could be an audience that I have website visitors. I don't want it to be lookalike. So this is my website visitors for South Africa, all genders. There's no additional kind of targeting. So you could save that audience, give it a name, and essentially save it. It'll give you some kind of information that also the people are online shopping or baby shoppers, and you can save that audience. The nice thing is on the left-hand side here, you can have different audiences, and you can then create as many different ad sets, have different audiences for the different ad sets. So you can create any new custom audience and then either search existing audiences. So say, for example, now, if I had an audience, so yeah, it would either be some audiences I've created within this account, other custom audiences, lookalike audiences. So if you have saved an account or an audience that is working for you, save that, or you could then use that to create a new audience from with some adjustments to see if that makes any difference in your ad sets. So when you're running those different ad sets, comparing two audiences that might be very similar and see how they perform, and then either choose a winner or loser and then make further adjustments and then essentially everything can live within your audiences, and then you can manage them that way.
Yeah.
So
I don't
then
think
really
we've
Yeah.
done that
It
quite
just,
yet.
it's try for me, I
comparative.
feel,
So sorry,
Yeah.
just to finish. So then you could end up having like 30 different versions of the ad, right? If you're comparing differences in audiences, and then maybe you have another set comparing copy, just with the
Yes.
same concept. So you could have, so that's, do you recommend that? What's for a
Definitely,
beginner
especially if you know
advertiser?
your audience. So I'll maybe go back to one of the examples where we've got a maths tutoring service. We target according to interests, so kind of also search. So because there's grade 10, 11, 12. So we'll have different ads, just targeting different audiences, and then set up different audiences on different platforms, because there's some reels and some, so we'd actually have specific placements. So depending on the budget and things with larger clients, we can be very specific, because we know this ad, a reel only works in stories or reels. So this ad and that would work better in Facebook placement, and maybe more female because males don't do as much reels in Instagram, but they would do it more in stories. So we can get really detailed into the audiences if you know those specific audience traits, if they're male, female, age groups, location specific. So I mean, for that one client, I mean, in Mastermat's like an example, who spend over 200,000 a month, we go very granular into the audience breakdown, which I unfortunately can't share with you because of the NDA. Is we will go placement specific, age specific, campaign specific, and even specific into their specific placements and platforms. So I think we probably have over 100 different audiences, because then we also have science literacy and normal literacy campaigns targeting people that have different issues. Those are looking for maths or maths interests and things like that, because we know that audience very specifically, and we want to have our ad really related to them. And on top of that, we would have lookalike audiences, website visitor audiences. So I think I can't even recall the volume of audiences with them. And then we also have our testing audiences. So we've got winning audiences, testing audiences that we would delete and refine and improve based on the data we collect. And the winners, those run because we've seen that they work, and those are top performing, and those are the ones that we would scale. The test ones, we would maybe start smaller, generate some data. If it fits into our conversion costs, if it's outside of that, we would refine it until it works. And then once it's working, we'd either scale it up or add it to the winning recipe, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
it's been, yeah.
So in that case, you'd have to do just to dumb it down a little bit. For those students who are looking for themselves to get some assistance, you'd put it onto TikTok and possibly Instagram. For the mothers who are looking to get extra lessons for their sons, you would direct your ads on Facebook, for example.
Yes and no. So I mean, quite interesting enough, TikTok females in the ages of 25 to 35 is massive, including the really young demographic, and their buying power has overtaken Instagram. So TikTok should definitely be looked at, especially for females, Gen Z and millennials, especially millennials, because I mean, millennials now, they've got higher buying power than some of the baby boomers and things. So testing it out would probably be my preference, but if you're starting out, the basics, Facebook and Instagram, they do work. And especially within South Africa, they do work. TikTok is emerging, so not excluding that, but you could use that once you know it's refined. Once you know Instagram is working, then move into TikTok. If you kind of see it's more Facebook based, Facebook has a larger audience and will give your eyeballs on a lot more people, especially then more business orientated, old school individuals that don't want to, because they're kind of, Facebook is a combination of news and it's not just entertainment and shop. So there's a bit of news, there's a bit of entertainment, there's articles. So it's again trying to understand your demographic, how they use that platform, and what your advert or your message would be to that demographic on that platform. So you might even go, I mean, if there was now, if you had an online shop that was very, maybe even like TikTok, I mean, Take-A-Lot, you might have different campaigns for totally different age groups and have a different ad for the same product to those different age groups. So maybe 20 to 25 might be this messaging with this demographic that's maybe very graphic and colorful to the 25-year-olds, and maybe to the older demographic might be a little bit more subtle, a bit more reserved, simpler to use, that would resonate with them. So that's where we're trying to put you know what you want, but putting yourselves into the client's shoes. This is the client. How do they use that platform? What message would work best for them, resonate with them? Does it solve a problem that they have? And then trying to address how your product solves that problem. We try and generate the best return on that ad spend.
Right.
Thanks,
think I've-
everybody. I think it's nearly 12 noon, so I think we need to
okay.
wrap up. Justin, thank you so much for your time. We so appreciate it. Ladies, I've also sent you my conversation with Justin, the link to the Facebook conversation, which I think is
Yes, thank
really
you.
helpful just to kind of flesh out a little bit of the thinking that you need to do before you get all technical on these platforms. But otherwise, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it. I'm going to package these videos and I will send you the links.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.